Going into the show, the question on everybody's mind, could Shane McMahon handle Dwayne's Rock Hard Johnson? The answer may surprise you. The answer was absolutely not. I'm Joe Renton with the Retro View of WWE Raw from August 6, 2001. In Anaheim, California, speeding towards SummerSlam 2001 and heading straight into a goddamn brick wall that was the bad booking of the Invasion angle. We still have about 3.5 months more to go. And man, this whole goddamn thing was a dumpster fire with interference and a whole bunch of shit. Nobody knew who was on whose side. Whose side is he on? And man, this was just so fucking messy, but so fucking entertaining because there were some neat little nuggets and gems and among the nuggets of bullshit that was the Invasion angle. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So we have recaps of The Rock's return. Oh my god, everybody popped for Dwayne's Rock Hard Johnson. I'm going to keep rolling with that because why the fuck not? So JR and Heyman on commentary, Kane versus RVD for the Hardcore Championship. We're kicking off with the match. My god, what year is this? 2001. I just said it. God damn it, would I pay attention to myself once again. So anyway, Kane blasts RVD from behind and then takes over and, brutalizes him. And then RVD does that super athletic, leg drop where he puts somebody on the barricade and does that. And even though the distance is quite great, he does go the distance. He does go for speed. He's all alone. Then he got busted for weed. No, I'm kidding. He actually got busted for other stuff. That was years later. So, chairs and steps get used, and then later DDP shows up and hits Kane once with a chair and then once in the head, puts a chair on Kane's chest, 5-star frog splash on the chair. Good job looking out for your alliance buddy there, DDP. You were too busy, being in this bullshit stalker angle that you decided to say, hey, RVD, why don't you injure yourself by doing that? 1, 2, 3. Retains Hardcore Championship, and then Kane sits up and DDP does the whole shock face and then runs away while Kane pursues him for about 10 seconds. That's about it. Then we get recaps of Deborah's betrayal. Haha, yeah, the cookie tray. Get it. Yeah, I'm ashamed of myself. I'm going to continue to make bad jokes because that's kind of what I do. And then Austin and Deborah arrive. And then Booker is in Hollywood for an audition because he can be just as good as The Rock. And yeah, the girl that's doing the audition stuff quotes The Rock or whatever and says it doesn't matter what your name is, and everybody's just berating. But Booker had to go through a lot of bullshit just to get into, a good program, like for the World Championship at Mania 19. And he absolutely won, against all odds when someone like him couldn't be champion. And yes, I'm still sore about that. I fucking hate that angle. And Triple H should be fucking ashamed and shamed repeatedly for, doing that angle. But, it was a WCW guy angle. It wasn't a racist angle. Yes, it was. Bruce Pritchard, the lying sack of shit that he is, the lying red-faced sack of shit that he always will be, tried to claim that it wasn't a racist angle. It was, you fucking idiot. So anyway, back to this. Stephanie comes out to let the bodies hit the floor. Do that what you will. Do with that what you will, rather. I can English. And the crowd, they were just basically assing off at her, which kind of makes sense because Stephanie kind of deserved that. And still does. She talks about how The Rock's afraid of Shane and that, Shane's a gladiator and this kind of stuff. It's your brother you're talking about, you sick freak. And then Jericho interrupts, says, Shane may always end up on top, but you always end up on the bottom, the side, bent over, whatever. For you, a SummerSlam is a quickie on a hot summer night. And then he says, when your body hits the floor, it's usually naked and in front of a paying customer. This is stuff that Jericho said, and I can promise you that I probably didn't laugh at this. I certainly would never make comments like this in jest because I am absolutely, respectful of all parties. Actually, I am respectful of all parties. I offend everybody. I offend myself more than anything else. So, or I at least, call myself out more than anything else. That was pretty funny, though, and then she says, well, my husband beat you and everything. And says, Jericho's a blonde little bitch. And then Jericho says, well, you talk about what you've done. Your husband's been away for a while, so you've been lonely. Hell, you formed a private alliance with 3/4 of the locker room back there. And with the cameraman, the lighting crew, the various people, even the popcorn vendor on the 15th floor, or the 15th row. 15th floor, that would have been impressive. This isn't the movie Skyscraper that Dwayne's Rock Hard Johnson, protruded in. Neve Campbell looks absolutely the same there as she did in Scream. She found the fountain of youth, or I've just been hit in the head a lot. So suddenly we have the Planet of the Apes thing. I forgot this was the episode that had the Planet of the Apes tie-in. You remember the Tim Burton version of the Planet of the Apes? The one that nobody fucking liked, and Tim Burton could have made that a whole lot better, but no. Fox, or whatever fucking studio it was, decided to do a bunch of interference and kind of wrecked Tim Burton's reputation. But then again, Tim Burton kind of did that with, some movies later, even though he's made some really, really good movies. And let's move on from the movie stuff. There are guys, in Planet of the Apes costumes that come out to Kamala's music. I want you to just think about who Kamala is, and I want you to think about people in ape costumes coming out to Kamala's music. I mean, you want to talk about racial undertones. Those are racial undertones, overtones, every goddamn tone. It was so goddamn racially insensitive. Even Hogan said, okay, that's a bit much, brothers. You know he would have said the word because he hasn't apologized for what he said. He has absolutely, just apologized for getting caught on camera. Because Hogan's not sorry, even though he wants to love the brother's brother. If it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, you people wouldn't be here. He told us how he felt back in '96. So they come out to Kamala's music. I can't get over that. It's so bad. And they have gifts, like roses, and in a box. And, well, Jericho says, the Alliance, may have the Rock, but you can still have the pie. And then he pie faces the princess. Pie face princess. I saw that in the movie once. Always delete your search history. But yeah, Jericho just creaming Stephanie right there. The cream of Jericho. Drink it in, man. Gross. And she's all upset because she's got pie all over her face, and she didn't even ask for it this time. Unexpected pie to the face, out of nowhere. So Lita then praises Deborah for what she did to Austin, but then basically says, well, Austin doesn't really treat you good, this kind of stuff. But Deborah twists the words, as she is known to do, and then she brushes it off. And then this storyline continues to play out over multiple uncomfortable segments, knowing what Austin did. X-Pac wants competition because he's cruiserweight and a light heavyweight champion. And Tajiri wants a match. And basically, since he spoke Japanese, he's like, I don't understand him. And then Regal says, well, he said X-Pac sucks. Oh, you want a match? Fine. I'll prove to you that X-Pac doesn't suck. You suck. X-Pac was gone by SummerSlam 2001, by the way, or right after SummerSlam 2001. And he took drugs into Japan when China had her run over there. I mean, he's admitted that it was wrong to do, and he's clean now, but goddamn, that's risky. The China documentary. Get a chance to check that out and then check out my review. So, Stacey and Tori took on Jacqueline or Jaqueline. Thanks, Derb, if you happen to be watching this. I can never unhear that name. It's a 2-on-1 match. Stacey involved in tag team action. Stop thinking about it. You know who you are. I know you're thinking about it. So suddenly, Ivory attacks a couple minutes in and is part of the Alliance. Because why not? Has Ivory been seen on TV since Mania 17? I don't think so. Because everything moved from from the network to the cock, and the cock had to be stimulated and enhanced and everything, and the cock had to grow. As far as content, get your minds out of the gutter. I run a clean show, even though you cannot possibly believe that. And I didn't catch if Ivory was still part of, was still on the program. And they kind of just dropped a whole bunch of stuff, and then people would just appear. So she's part of the Alliance. Still looking really good, by the way, Ivory. And then we see DDP Shrine. By the way, Tori and Stacey won. DDP Shrine. I need my Sarah. He is being really gross. I can't imagine how uncomfortable he was doing this. And then, Terry's in WWF New York, and Heyman proceeds to just run her down. Says, you lost out to a mop, that Saturn took or whatever. The mop has more personality, and just runs her down, knocks plastic surgery and all this stuff, or her plastic surgery and all the makeup and everything and all the stuff. When Heyman was the one that got makeup done by her when she started in wrestling, she started as a makeup woman, I believe, in WCW. That's how her and Dustin met. But God, I was just like, why did Heyman do this? Who did Terry piss off? Anyway, and then she runs off, because that was nice. What did Terry ever do to deserve that? And then Deborah tells Austin what Lita said. And then Austin's like, what? She insulted you? She said that I was trailer park trash or redneck trash? I'm going to go find her. Great. Austin going to be angry at a woman. This always ends well. Booker then, has to audition for an 18th century British aristocrat and tries to do the British accent. Kind of like the one he did as King Booker, or the one that he did when he was part of the Main Event Mafia. You remember when he took a 2-year vacation in TNA. And Dixie paid for it, because Dixie Carter was a fucking idiot. So Regal then says to Stephanie as she marches in, it's my favorite dessert, banana tart. What is this show? Oh, where it's Raw. And also, seriously, what the fuck is this? And they said, well, you allowed 8s in there. What's next? Lions and tigers and bears. The crowd says, oh my. Like lemmings off a cliff. And it, like Lemon Custard off a cliff. That didn't work at all. Then so she basically says, I want the Dudleys against Jericho in the handicap match. No, I can't do that. Even though that match did happen about a month ago during this invasion angle. Or maybe it was a few weeks ago. I have been reviewing this for only about 6 weeks since King of the Ring 2001. And honestly, so much of this shit is blending together. I probably should have just kept my notes, except I read like shit. And that would be way too much paper. So, X-Pac and Tajiri Light Heavyweight Championship match. And not for the Cruiserweight title. Despite the fact he was a double champion, is only for the Light Heavyweight Championship. Whatever. Maybe the Cruiserweight Championship, gained sentience and said, no, it's not in my contract to be defended on Raw. It'd make just as much sense as anything else in the invasion angle. So yeah, we get a dive outside, even though X-Pac tried, the crowd didn't care, and then we get the mist. And then putting on the kick to the head, ow. And then 1, 2, 3, Tajiri wins the Light Heavyweight Championship. I believe they would go on to SummerSlam for a unification match. That X-Pac would win, and then he would leave. It would make no sense. That would also retire the Light Heavyweight Championship, I believe. So, Austin then confronts Lita and Matt about what she said to Deborah. Matt steps up, because you can't talk to his girlfriend that way, at least his girlfriend at the time. And they're going to have a match later. Don't bring your girlfriend or I'll whip her ass too. Some of this stuff with Austin hasn't aged well at all. So Booker, basically is doing the audition, and the girl that did the audition with him was pretty hot, I will say that. She's not trying to crack up, or she's trying not to crack up during this, like if you look at her, and then says, Booker T, are you related to Mr. T? So stupid, I had to laugh. So, Jericho and Angle versus the Dudleys. Crowd pop for Angle. The match wasn't bad. We get ref distractions. What? I'm shocked. Rhino gored Jericho, but just a 2 count. Angle comes back in with suplexes, does a moonsault, and lands flush on Devon's knees, because he gets the knees up, but it's just fucking flat on him. Ow. Ow. I mean, you could feel I haven't seen that much air let out of a body since, that footage of David Carradine. Oh, this is going well. So anyway, Austin, okay, let me back up a little bit. We get, despite all that, Angle gets the ankle lock on Bubba for the win. Oh, Bubba lost in the match. Oh, tears. And then Austin confronts Lita again and berates her again, and you could just feel his, slapping hand, just getting ready, because Deborah knows all about that, because Austin skated on that, and they didn't want her to say anything, because Austin's a big star, so he couldn't have possibly done this. And then talk about any of that stuff in the fucking, A&E documentary, even though it's a pretty good documentary. Why talk about that, and why not do a hit piece on Savage, and why not, kind of fluff it about Ultimate? Anyway, let's talk about Christian. Coming to the ring, wants to talk about Canadian Private Land Storm from one Canadian to another. Let's do a 5-second pose. It would be my honor, Christian. And Edge comes down and pants Lance Storm. That was really hard to say, by the way. He has weird briefs on, because why wouldn't he? Then they have a match for the Intercontinental Championship. Nick Patrick is there. It's decent. Then we get a roll-up with using the ropes. 1, 2, 3. Most devastating maneuver in all professional wrestling. So then Taker and Sarah arrive. Kane talks about Paige and says, okay, Kane, take Sarah to the APA, have them protect her, because they are the Acolyte Protection Agency, and then me and we'll tear down this shrine. We don't see the APA, so we just have to presume that Sarah went there, or the APA were sucked into a vortex for the following week. And then Sarah was also sucked in there. Sarah did suck, in all honesty, because she wasn't very good on camera and really wasn't beneficial to anything on on like any television. She should have not been on, as part of this act at all. It was a terrible angle and a terrible burial of DDP. So, The Rock is ready, and then Angle says that, well, they don't like each other, and usually you make fun of me, and you threaten to shove my gold medals up my ass, and Angle says, I have just the thing for you. He offers him his man milk. Have fun on seeing that. And Johnson gulps it down, while his last name just gets all excited, and then he says, next time you bring me the milk, bring me some pie. I have no place that makes great apple pie. Thanks anyways, Kurt, because funny. And then Austin says that Lita knocked Deborah's appearance about her black roots and all that stuff and bad perfume. She's going to be there tonight. So Taker shows up at the shrine, and then sees a doctored wedding photo with DDP's face taped over Taker, then attacks somebody that's laughing. It's Kanyon as DDP, positively Page's back, because that worked so well in the last year of WCW, as did everything else. Oh wait, that's why the company went out of business. Well, that and Jamie Kellner's a fucking jackass. Then Kanyon does that, DDP lays him out with a pipe, and Kane suddenly appearing from just like, I assume where the gallows ghost came from, because it's just a dark doorway. He just appears there and runs him off. Matt with Lita versus Austin with Deborah. It's what you would expect. I mean, it wasn't bad, but the women got involved. Star to Lita, star to Matt, and 1, 2, 3, and then he lays out Tim White. Because why wouldn't Austin? Why wouldn't he continue to be a heel that everybody wanted to see? And then Booker is still doing the audition. Wait, it's like talking about, he's going to take The Rock out of SummerSlam. Wait, why are you taking him to SummerSlam? Are you his chauffeur? Oh, you must be his butler. What is it with making Booker out to be a servant to people? My God, this haunted him his whole career. Anyway, he then got all upset. The girl, by the way, did look really hot, and then he beat up the director, because why the fuck not? So Shane runs down The Rock and says, talks about being born with a silver spoon in his mouth, that he's going to be his ass. He's got a Singapore cane or candlestick. Rock says, you may have been born with a silver spoon in your mouth, but you are going to now have The Rock's boot up your ass tonight. And then Rock versus Shane in a street fight. There must be a winner. There can't be a loser. No, wait. There must be a winner, so there would have to be a loser. That's how winners and losers work, goddammit. It was a mess, but it wasn't dull. Shane bumped his ass off. Rock sold properly. They fight into the crowd. And Dwayne's Rock Hard Johnson appears from behind. Shane gets all shocked by the protrusion. I'm kidding. He just gets shocked by suddenly, there's a 6'5" guy that's just going to beat my ass. And he did. And we get a trash can to the head, and then Rock puts a trash can on Shane, goes backstage, gets a very soft chair and batter up, swings that. Then we get a low blow. We get some more bumping back in the ring. Here's Booker. Then he gets DDT down, and Rock bottom 1, 2, 3. Then Booker suddenly attacks him, lays him up, and then just puts him on the announcer's table. Shane does the diving elbow thingy, woohoo, and does that. And I will not make that noise again. I do apologize. Woohoo! Okay, anyway. He does that, and he covered the distance a lot better than he did a number of years later. But to be fair, Father Time is undefeated, even though Shane is determined to defeat Father Time by not even allowing it to catch up to him, because I think that Shane wants to die in the ring, and I hope he doesn't. But anyway, yeah, this certainly set up a lot of stuff for SummerSlam, because we got Shane interfering with Booker T and The Rock, and boy, that clothesline for me. I can't wait to watch that show, because it's a mess, but it's fun. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.